So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy.
Halo, Gears, and Forza. Halo, Gears, and Forza.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and yes, today is your next dose of the Salty Batch Files, and like I said, we're going to have a trilogy of this stuff, if not more, to intermix with future videos of the Salty Batch Files, but we're still continuing on, yes, because there's so much salt to derive from the Gears of War remastered or reloaded announcement that it is coming to all platforms, so we have more goodies to share with you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. All right, so like I said, what we're going to do is get right to the salt here, of course. We're going to start with an oldie but a goodie because these receipts are so good and it takes context as of a recent tweet. So again, that context being Gears of War, the reloaded, remastered version coming out to PlayStation as well, something we'd never see. Well, more proof to that. Here we are, General MLD, back in August of 2024. What do we have here? Talking in regards to other games heading to PlayStation, right? I don't like it either. Just saying you shouldn't be shocked that a live service game gets better over time. And then, of course, Crap Gamer, who's one of the worst flip-floppers out there, by the way, as we all know. I'm shocked a first-party game that was basically Xbox's only successful new IP of the entire Xbox One generation is going to the platform that actively tries to kill Xbox every day. And then, of course, General MLD, and I'm thinking they're talking about Sea of Thieves or something in this context, but he goes over, if it's Halo, Gears, or Forza, I'm right there with you. Keep in mind, if any of those three, the Holy Trinity, if any of those three head to PlayStation, he is right there with the flip-flopper himself, Crap Gamer. Otherwise, let's be real, Sea of Thieves stopped being a system seller a long time ago. So now we're coping, we're moving those goalposts, much like MLD does. He is the king of moving goalposts. He will not ever admit defeat. He won't ever admit that he's wrong or go back on anything. You could show these types of receipts over and over. Won't ever stop, but the king of goalpost moving, just full of crap, right? I'd rather it last 10 plus years, multi-plat, than fade away as an exclusive. If it's fading away in your closed ecosystem and it's a good enough game, what does that say about the fan base? What does that say about the ecosystem? What does that say about the quality of the game? And again, there's still a lot of people that like that game, Sea of Thieves, but however, what I state is absolutely true. What does that say about all of it, right? What does it say about all of it? Well, let's fast forward to modern times here, folks, because MLD is here. He's here right now, right? He says, you adapt or you cry. This shouldn't surprise Xbox fans anymore, referencing, as you can see, Gears of War. The objective is to beat PlayStation on games. So again, the goalpost has moved substantially, not just by a few inches, not by a few feet, but we moved the goalpost from, let's say, New York City, all the way over to Antarctica at this point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, whether it's PC, cloud, mobile, and even PlayStation charts, they are doing that this year. He leaves off the R, right? I just want to preface this real quick. He leaves that off like talking like he's a gangster, like he's from the hood or something like that. I don't understand why he talks like that on Twitter, on X. I don't understand it. If you guys understand why, let me know. Maybe I missed something. I don't understand. Anyway, not connecting. Very excited to play it regardless where it is. Fire emoji. So he's very excited to play it. You know, like I said, just a year ago, he was right there with Crap Gamer, the flip-flopper, that he's upset with it, but now it's okay because now it's about publisher wars. Again, you guys can keep pushing this. You can keep making this a publisher war thing. It's not going to happen. Nobody cares. Nobody's cheering on EA. No one's cheering on Ubisoft. No one's cheering on any other third-party company to beat one over the other. Like, EA just showed you guys over at Ubisoft. That's why I'm a huge EA fan in the sports. You know, I'm in the sports and the games and the, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? There's no end in sight when it comes to that. The publisher wars are ridiculous, you know? It's ridiculous. So just wanted to share that. It's just a great receipt, but let's continue on here. We are not done. So J-Dub here, I love this here. Talking about game trailers here. He is constantly in any PlayStation fan, whether they're trolling, whether they're poking fun, whether it's nonchalant, just stating facts, he will be in your comment section to sit there and defend and to white knight the Xbox brand. So he's talking about reposting a receipt here when Sixers is talking about Outer Worlds 2 Day 1, Indiana Jones a few months after release, Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, etc. It's time to accept it, brother. And then he says, if Halo, Gears, or Forza go to PS5, then I accept it. Again, we're stating the Holy Trinity here. We're stating the Holy Trinity. A lot of these guys were supposed to accept it. They knew. They had a plan. They had a line that if it was crossed, that they would understand and accept this. And now they're backtracking it. That's the most corpo bootlicking thing I've ever seen, or the most delusional thing I've ever experienced away from somebody here at this point in time. But as you can see, he says, accept it, you BTD. I'm not going to say the full word on here just in case, right? But he says, leave me alone, Jay. Simple as that. Not an exclamation mark, just a simple leave me alone. So I wonder what he's doing, if he's still punching air, if he's finally sat in the realization. I don't know why he had to wait for this point in time. Like I said, I don't have the timestamp on when this post was made that he has that receipt from. Jay does. But regardless, it's probably a year ago as well, similar to MLD stuff. But here we are. Just leave me alone. How do you not see this coming? How did anybody not see this coming? The people that typically leak this sort of stuff has been leaking this for the past year. It's not going away. It's going to happen. Starfield's going to happen. Halo's going to happen. The whole slate is going to happen. Fable's going to happen. Why are we pretending that it's not going to happen? Why live in this delusional bubble? You have choices, and if you don't like it, and you want more bang for your buck console-wise, get a PlayStation. If you're okay with moving on from consoles and you want the best of all worlds, supposedly, according to PC elitists there, get yourself a PC that can run all these games fairly well. If you want to spend the money to do so, if you're okay with troubleshooting, if you're okay with doing all that stuff, then do that. It's simple. But to sit there and act and defend Xbox in every way, shape, or form, this is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. But let's just go on to some more examples here. We have Reaper 117, seen him around, of course. They will phase out hardware, right? This concept, they're going to invest in hardware as a fan service, is wild to me. I got out, but I'm going to laugh at those who love this direction when reality hits, and they either have to go tell PlayStation or PC. Just what I said, right? So Reaper, I know Reaper on social media for a while as far as his comments and stuff like that. Definitely an Xbox fanboy, and he was finally having enough himself. As you can see, we have the logo there himself of, I believe Gears. If it's not, I apologize. I'm not the biggest Gears fan. I will play it when it comes to PlayStation. I have dabbled in the series. It's a fine series, but I believe that's from Gears. But again, that's just a preface that, hey, he was a huge Xbox fan, and apparently he has moved on. I haven't kept tabs on him, but very upset about this whole situation. But at least he's speaking some truth to this, right? But Let's go over to Phil Spencer should be fired. This guy, by the way, I don't have the screen right now, but every day he says Phil Spencer should be fired, resign, whatever, and tags Xbox P3, Phil Spencer himself. But anyways, you can see, to everyone behind this BS decision, screw you. Congratulations on completely destroying Xbox's identity. Good job to everyone who works at Xbox, tagging Phil Spencer, Xbox itself, Gamer Boss, Sarah, right? And has the classic meme of this is fine, Xbox community, the hardware, the brand, the identity, all that stuff. This is a very on-point meme, by the way, to replace the dog head with Phil Spencer's head, because, this is the direction. They think everything's fine. I don't think they think everything's fine, but that's just the way it is. So, again, very salty, very upset about this situation. And at least some of these guys are being truthful. It's the bigger follower accounts that are sitting there living in that delusional bubble and moving those goalposts and whatever the case is, as you can see that we've just gone over. But let's keep going here. What other salty comments do we got here, folks? Ivy Gallagher, right? The Ashen one. Sarah Bond and Nadella, right, are the main culprits. I'm glad their plans are failing in the future. There won't be anyone left on the Xbox platform, and Game Pass is doomed. Because on PC, they prefer to buy on Steam. Yeah, exactly what we were saying before in previous videos, right? So let's say that there is some sort of hybrid system for the next Xbox console and hardware. We're looking at the ROG Ally, right, recently, and how it's just an Xbox sticker on there and how they have the Xbox buttons on there for the mapping, right, the XBAY. It's just, if Steam's there and that's an opportunity, Game Pass or not, folks are going to purchase off of the Steam store. It's still the most popular store. It still has the best deals. There's all sorts of options there. So the same thing would happen if Steam was on PlayStation, guys. I mean, people would buy from the Steam store. It's absolutely, detrimental or weird that a business would do that. If that does end up happening, it'd be so weird for a corporation to be like, it's a good idea, guys. Let's put that nail in the coffin and offer Steam on our system. That'll work out real well for everybody involved. No, it's not. But Gallagher, the Ashen One here, understands it apparently. But let's keep going over. Uni, he took a little break. Uni Sensei, he came back. He's been holding Xbox to the fire for years. He used to not be that way. Just some context of the past. He used to be just as delusional as the rest. But he does hold them more accountable. He's still a hardcore Xbox dude at heart and still pulling for him and all that good stuff, which, good for you, but the writing was on the wall for so long, like we said, and he didn't want to believe until, about a year ago. But anyways, he's reposting the Gears of War account, stating what's going on. He's like, F Xbox respectfully. Indrid Cold isn't having that, though, as you can see. No, they don't deserve any respects. Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond killed the brand, as he tags them, of course. It wasn't just them again. We can tag 2, 3, 4 individuals that are the faces of Xbox, that help run things with Xbox. Yes, they are part of the problem. Yes, they may have had some influences or decisions about it. But they're not the only ones to blame. Let's just make sure that we state that. If you're going to make a claim like that, yes, but you might as well put and etc. or everybody involved over there, or whatever the case it is, or a lot of individuals involved over there. There's going to be a lot of individuals probably helping make these decisions that we don't even know about, right? They're given data sheets, they're doing this and that. We can't get to all of them, of course, but just to sit there and not just own in on 1 or 2 people or 3 or 4. It takes a team to run a business or a corporation or an extension of a corporation into the ground. It takes time and it takes a lot of effort to do that, and it takes years of bad decision making from multiple individuals involved. Let's just make sure we understand that. But let's keep going here. So Fernando, F off Phil Spencer, and then of course Glitch tagging on here. Dude literally killed off an entire brand that defined people's childhoods. Phil Spencer only cares about profit and not culture or gamers. Alright, so again, Phil Spencer, he does game. He does like games. But at the end of the day, guess what? He's a business figurehead at a corporation. He doesn't care about you. None of these corporations, none of these figureheads care about you. Even Shuhei Yoshida, the great Shuhei Yoshida, I'm sure he cares about gamers to a point, but not to the point where you think. They are out because that's just what you do. That's what you do as a business person. You care about running that business effectively, appropriately, profitably, right? You do all that stuff. That comes first before making your customers friends. You want to garner the respect of consumers. You want to garner trust with your consumers to a point, but you want to give them enough to where they're giving you back. They don't care. They're not going to lie awake in bed at night and sit there and go like, man, Steve-O or Kid West here is super upset with me, and man, I can't sleep. I got to go in the next day. I got to talk to the higher ups. We got to figure this out because on my conscience, I can't allow myself to help do this to the company, to make us what we are because we made some bad decisions. We need to owe it to our consumers to do better, and we're going to do better. No corporation cares. If they're getting some sort of profit, or if they find a way to pivot to make that profit, you're at the bottom of that list for making somebody happy. okay? And you got all these figureheads and these talking heads on social media like King David and Alex and Colt and Gaz and all the guys, all the groups we always talk about. They sit there and don't help the brand. They lie, they manipulate facts, they do it for the grift, for the shilling, all that stuff. That doesn't help. Maybe you should hold them accountable as well, because word of mouth does spread. So on top of Phil Spencer, on top of Sarah Bond, on top of Aaron Greenberg and the rest of the company there, maybe you should also start, holding these idiots accountable. Call them out. Simple as that, right? But no, we don't want to do that because those guys that are grifting and shilling are our friends as well. Totally, right? And Astro, if you're seeing this, yeah, Alex is totally your friend, and you're invited over for game night in a couple weeks. Don't worry, buddy. I'm sure that's what's happening. And when all the console stuff is done with and the gaming in the future, I promise you, you're not going to hear hide nor hair of these grifters that you attach yourself to. But just a little side rant there. Let's keep going, folks. On PlayStation's post here, official post, rev up your Lancers, right? Announcing Gears of War. What do we have at the bottom? Gears of War themselves. Nice, right? They're all in on it, and as you would as a company, right? Collaboration, partnership, profitability, all that stuff. Glitch Hedberg here. Kid West is back, right? He's back. Not even close to nice. It's a slap in the face to the fans who stood by your franchise and supported it up until this point. Shame. And you know what, kid? Again, you have my empathy. You have my empathy, man. I don't know where you were. I'm not familiar with you on social media. I'm not familiar with your presence on there. So I'm going to assume positive intent here. I really am, and going to think that you were just, trying to be good for the brand, trying to do the best for the brand. I don't know if you were spreading misinformation or doing anything of the stuff that I dislike or a lot of us dislike. But if you weren't, if you're just at least keeping it real the whole time and just, accepting the brand and hoping that they would do better and pull back for competition's sake, for consumer sake, then I do feel for you. The empathy is definitely there. Because you guys have. There are a lot, and let me just definitely bold font state this. There are a lot of Xbox fans out there that are normalized, right? What is normal? We can go out on a side tangent here. What can we define as normal? But is what we classify as normal your typical fan that's just a big fan of it, that just invested your time and money into that stuff, and you're along for the ride, and you are defending it to the point, because why would you not? You're defending a brand that you've given a lot of your time and money into, like I keep saying. And so you're going to have that attachment. I understand. So when these corporations and companies do that, that sucks. I get it 100%. This really reminds me of the Dreamcast version 2.0, but 10 to 20 times worse, because they were just slowly peeling the Band-Aid off. I didn't see this happening with the Sega Dreamcast. You had an idea and inclination, but there was no doom and gloom. There was no real social media back then pandering to that stuff. There was no grifters and shills and insiders or anything like that that's able to get out to the public back then. But it seemed really quick, and just out of nowhere, they just pulled the plug and it was done. Where in this case, with Microsoft and them going full third party, it's just like the biggest Band-Aid you have. You're peeling it off real slow. You leave it there. You don't finally peel it all the way off. You just don't want to do that. You just keep doing it. And it's inch by inch or centimeter by centimeter, whatever the case is. And man, I mean, how painful is this as a true Xbox fan that just wanted the best for the brand, that did try to support it in a myriad of ways, not only Game Pass, but also buying your games and all that stuff. I feel for you. Let me just end this video by saying I feel for you 100%, okay? And this is just pointing out the fact of these segments, right? The fact of these segments is just to point out all the delusional weirdos out there, the people that are the grifters and the shills. That's what we do. And the people that MLD and stuff like we just shown, and constantly moving goalposts and not accepting reality. That's what this is for. If you're a true blue Xbox fan, more power to you. I hope the best. I want Xbox to stay around because we need competition. We really do. Look at what Nintendo's doing as of late too. They don't give two Fs about anybody or anything as well. It sucks. Sony could end up getting a big head down the line. We don't know, right? That's definitely a possibility. The more competition is better for the consumers. Exclusives are better for consumers because it creates competition. It creates better quality. You can argue to the moon. That's the truth of the matter, whether you agree with it or not. But that being said, I do feel for the true Xbox fans because shoe on the other foot, I'd be definitely hurt, upset, and it sucks in having to choose what ecosystem I want to invest in going forward. Understandable. That being said, still, we told you so. We told you so, especially to the grifters and shills and frauds and delusional fanboys. We told you so. Egg on your face. This is hilarious. End of story. That being said, we'll wrap up the video here, folks. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the surplus and subs as of late as well. You guys are amazing. Trying to get that 3,500 subscription goal, subscriber goal rather. But you guys are absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much for that support. If you haven't already, definitely leave a like, a comment down below. Would love to hear from you. Both those things help out the algorithm if you'd like to. Also consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. Additionally, at the end of the day, of course, just remember, don't be a salty batch. We'll see you all guys next time on the next Xvault gaming video. And until then, take care.